What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to be talking about this Dirty South Capra. So the Dirty South chassis is the sister to the Outlaw, made by Ugrc Lab. The Dirty South is actually the original form of the chassis, and then the Outlaw, which is right there, is the second form of it, which is the forward skid version. A little bit of improvements on it. The Dirty South still has that 12-degree angled skid. So, let's get talking about this right away. So first off the bat, take a look at the chassis. I did cut the rails in the rear. Any extra that I didn't need, I did cut off of it just to fit the Capra cage better. The Capra body itself was a little short compared to the chassis, so I cut it in the back here because it was sticking out like maybe almost the middle of the tire, maybe to the rear of the tire. It was sticking out a decent amount more, so I cut that. Same thing with the front, the bumper, where the bumper mounts to on the chassis, it was getting in the way of the grill. So I cut that down. That way there would be no more hanging up. I don't need that part anyways, so it was easy enough to just take the Dremel, cut it right off. Less is more. I do have stainless steel drive shafts in it. They're just some cheapos for now. I do have some exo cut to lengths on the way that I enjoy using. Make it a little bit lighter. As I said, anything that I don't need, I'm not going to use. The high clearance links that I have on there, they're high clearance front and rear. They were already on it when it was just a regular Capra. I don't know what brand they are, but they're pretty good. They work pretty well. I do want to make a decent note about this build. So anybody that's thinking about doing something like this, at least with this chassis, because the way the Ugrc skid is, it did lengthen the Capra from I don't remember what wheelbase the Capra is. I think it's what, like 12.5 or something like that, but it did make it a 14-inch wheelbase, so it is a long truck. 14-inch, which is why I was actually comfortable with going with the 525 Tusks, the new cut and shut style size. I was very comfortable with going and using them, and I'm gonna add some videos in at the end of me running it, and you're gonna see that it works amazing. I was able to crawl through a bunch of gaps and stuff that I just never thought that I would be able to do before. So this new build is really something different. It does have its complications being a 14-inch wheelbase. Certain areas where I would say, you know, my Kleinstein at 12.5 can clear some things that this can't because of how long it is, but then, you know, this thing can clear gaps that the Kleinstein can't because of how long it is, you know. So like every setup, it has its benefits, and it's just a new thing for me to learn. Like I said, I've never had a crawler this long, so there are a lot of climbs now that I can do that I couldn't do before. That extra length makes a big difference, especially when trying to climb up on top of ledges and everything. And this is the widest truck I have too, so it's a fun truck to learn and get to know what it's going to do and when it's going to do it. So far, I am loving these 525 Tusks. They are awesome. The compound is definitely very small. My last time out with it, I ripped the tire. So I gotta get some glue and patch that up. No big deal. At least it's in the sidewall, so it's nothing too crazy. I am still using the Chopra transmission. I didn't change any of the gearing in it. That is the stock Chopra transmission. I purposely left it with the stock gears inside the transmission because I didn't want to change the speed of it too much. I want it to still be a Chopra, just almost like a Chopra on steroids. I did, however, change the pinion gear. So I did go with an 11 tooth on the pinion gear just to slow it down that little bit. She's still peppy. This thing still will hop rocks, no problem. It's still a nut. But with that 11 tooth, now I get that little bit extra slow speed control that I didn't have before. Let's talk a little bit about the cage. So as you can see, there is nothing left to the cage back here. You basically just got those two tubes, and then some people cut that lower part off and mount it to this top part right here. I didn't want to cut it that much. Usually they cut it at like an angle here, and they'll cut it like all the way up here, and it does look cool. Me, I wanted it to still look like a Chopra mostly, so I mounted it to that lower part right there just so I would be able to keep the body mostly intact on the side here. That way I just like that look extra. Obviously I did cut the rear tubes off of it, made it look more like a truck version. I did have a piece of Lexan back there that broke off last time, so I gotta make a new bed for it, but the interior still fits. I did have to kind of cut out a little section of the interior where the transmission hits it, but it wasn't anything crazy, and I mean, unless you're really looking for it, you can't see it in there. So the Chopra still looks good. We'll get that new grill put on it since I destroyed that one. The shocks, I ended up putting some TRX4 shocks that I had on it. Well, that I had sitting around. They're a lot smoother than the stock shocks that were on it, at least for me. And I actually took my incision springs from my Vanquish shocks and I put them on here. They were a little softer than the Traxxas ones. I wasn't liking how stiff the Traxxas ones were. It was just causing it to sit, a lot higher up. It was causing the back end to sit, really tall. And I want it to sit, pretty much right there where it is. It's sitting, it's sitting directly on the axle for the most part. You can't get any lower than that. The chassis itself is right in line with the link. And again, that's another reason why I was so comfortable with going with the 525s, was because the chassis sits nice and low the way I have it set up. So you're able to run bigger tires and still be comfortable with that ride height being like that, And so far, I have been having a lot of fun with it. Like I said, it is definitely a different build. It's not something that I would normally do. I'm used to 12.3, 12.5, and 12.8 wheelbases. I've never gone to that 13 plus. So it's a new experience. But it is very enjoyable so far. So if any of you are thinking about doing a different build with your Chopra, something just to give it that little bit of extra clearance, that's mainly what it was. I was driving it and I got sick and tired of the skid getting caught up on things. And I've always loved the look of the Chopras and LCG Chopras, what people do with them. They look so awesome. And it was just something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now it's finally done. that's going to conclude this little review of my dirty Capra build. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the run videos that I'm going to attach to this. And I hope you all enjoy. And give us a like and subscribe.
And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication. It's the edge of the world in all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Celebrity skin, is this your gender? Is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore, softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.